I'm Joey Bonadonna. That's Blizzard head coach Cody Roberson. Coach, how's it going?
Going good, baby.
Good. Well, a long off season, shorter off season than usual, but an off season has come and gone. New season is here. We already have a game under our belt. But let's talk about the off season. What'd you do and how'd it go for you?
I worked. No, the off season, it was short. It was short this year. Just recruiting, recruiting some of the guys in the stands. I mean, out here in the crowd right now, it was just a lot of recruiting. A lot of talking to players, a lot of yeses, a lot of no's, more no's than yeses. It's just the nature of the beast, when you're selling, opportunity to come in and continue your career, right? A lot of these young men, some of them have started their career, some of them have not. So, it's the nature of the beast. But, we here now.
So a couple of returners coming from last year's roster, a leading receiver from last year, Keyshawn Taylor. Other was a little bit of applause for Keyshawn on that one. Just to name a few, Mamadou Mbai, Mason Gray. Just having those guys back on the team from last year that had the experience of last year. What would you like to see them build on going into here in 2022?
I mean, they came into camp, they left off, they started where they left off, right? Playing at a high level. We were, this past game, we was unfortunate that we didn't have Mbai, right? He's our defensive leader out there. He's, second team IFL player last year, his rookie year. I felt as though he should have been defensive rookie of the year. He led the DBs in majority every category out there. But, it is what it is at that point. But, having them two young men back is huge on our defensive side. Having Canty back as our defensive leader who's been with us since, the transition happened with me back in 2018. Having Keyshawn come back leading that receiver corps. It's been beneficial because that helps out a lot of the young guys. And then we got some new additions that's been pushing, especially at the receiver and defensive back position. It's been good.
And then, you touched on a couple of new guys coming in. We'll touch on a couple of them. Had a couple of really good performances from the new guys in our Week 1 game. Some new guys that you like in the receiver group, some guys who've been around the block a little bit with Dez Stewart and Shaq Currington. Just overall, how do you like the new guys coming into this year's squad as well?
Well, of course I like the new guys. I signed them, right? But, they've been a huge help. Dez and his leadership, he's one of our captains. He's shown that, why his bio, it speaks for itself, right? He had quite a few stops in the NFL and a lot of different training camps, 4 or 5 different NFL teams, if I recall correctly. And it speaks for itself, and he's shown that in camp and, throughout his leadership and his performance, and how everybody gravitates towards him as well. So, that compliments Keyshawn. Shaq compliments both of them, and then we got the two younger guys, right? I think everything plays in hand, but Dez has been a great addition.
And then we'll touch on Torrance a little bit later in the show as well as we talk about his performance in Week 1. But a couple of new quarterbacks in the room, but Torrance was a starter there in Week 1. What did you like seeing out of him transferring over from the receiver position last year and playing quarterback? Obviously a high level athlete.
Yeah, Torrance was a 5-star recruit coming out of Florida. He was recruited to go to Ohio State as a quarterback. We know Ohio State, Urban Meyer, they change people positions all the time. So he, changed positions to receiver, went to another school as a quarterback and ended up going to the CFL as a receiver and came in this league last year as a receiver, but, he transitioned back to quarterback. So he has some he's an athlete, right, who could play multiple positions. But having him, his athletic ability speaks for itself. What we saw out of him, we saw some good things. We saw a guy who could, a young man who could take control of the huddle. A little bit different than last year, right? You know, we didn't have that leader at that position, so he's growing into that leadership role, being a first-year quarterback, per se. So that's huge. He's holding players accountable. As the coaching staff is challenging him, I'm telling him every day, I need you to grow up. You got to grow up. It's time to grow up now. You know, so he's been taking the coaching, which is great, from Coach Barrett, and you know, great things to come out of him. You know, Jack is he's a natural, baby. Jack is a natural. He's a pure passer. So I think that two different quarterbacks, right? You know, you got an athlete. Not that Jack isn't an athlete, but he's a pure passer, and he can rip it. You know, that's what Coach Barron always say. Man, he can rip it. He can rip it. So, you know, having two guys that, you know, they bring two different things to the team is great for us as an organization, as a football program, and you know, we're looking to see great things from them.
So, touched on a little earlier, we already have a game under our belt here in 2022, with last Sunday falling to the Bismarck Bucks 26-23. A little bit of good out of that game, a little bit of bad as well. We'll talk about some of the bad here to kick it off. The turnover
out
battle.
The gate.
Yeah, out of the gate. The turnover battle, you come away with the one there on the first drive with the interception there from Nesbeth. But after that, you had a couple of unfortunate fumbles, 3 of them to be exact. What's the way to kind of emphasize holding on to the football? And the turnover battle is obviously huge.
Well, that'll be a part of practice, right? You know, we will go back to the basics, right? The fundamentals. Ball security is job security. So you got the ball, you get the ball every play, or you used to having the ball in your hand. The last thing you're supposed to do is let it go, right? So going back to the basics, it was a couple of careless plays, you know, one on the quarterback for sure, with a leg snap on one of our jet sweeps. Another one, it was a center quarterback exchange. Ball snapped over his head, and then, you know, we had an uncharacteristic fumble on a kickoff return. Actually, we had 4, and Dez ended up picking up one of them, you know, with another fumble after we got the first down and then we fumbled. So, but 3 of them we lost. But that's, you know, I mean, those points, right, we don't get. You know, defense played well enough to help us win the game. You know, you hold a team to 26 points in this game, you're supposed to win. So, you know, the turnovers, that's something that we can't have. I'm not going to feel sorry for ourselves. You know, that's something that we're not going to do. At the end of the day, we got to get better. You know, and I'm not going to demand anything less of being, you know, striving to be our best.
And another thing, talking about those first 2 drives, you get the turnover, and then the third down touchdown there from Torrance to Dez. Kind of looks like you're starting to get momentum. You kind of get in their head a little bit with the unsportsmanlike conduct on Bismarck. But then after that, you kind of have the turnovers. What's the emphasis on trying to keep that momentum early on and keep it all the way to the last whistle?
You know, we talked as a coaching staff last night, you know, control, you know, how do we teach these young men to control what we can control, right? You know, we can't, this game is an emotional roller coaster, and we got to stay even keel, right? We expect to make big plays. So when you see me, you know, Mason Gray always say, dang, Coach, you don't never smile, right? You don't never smile, because I expect us to be great. You know, I don't expect us to make the bad play. I don't expect that, because we practice perfection, right? So with that being said, you know, we got to learn how to control our emotions, and not get too high, not get too low. Stay focused on the game. I mean, I'm okay with, you know, whatever excitement or whatever Showtime dancing they do, whatever practice routines they come up with for touchdown celebration. That's all fine and dandy, but we got the next play. It's the next play, and that's our mentality, because the game is so fast, and we got X amount of time to get that play in and execute. So, yeah.
And then we'll switch over to a couple of the highlights, talking about going back to Torrance Gibson. Had himself a really good game in that, obviously, for his first starting quarterback, start at quarterback in a while, and as a professional. He was 7 for 20, 105 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. A bulk of those incompletions came there on that last drive. So good stuff there. Passing, also led the team in rushing with 68. And I looked, he also leads the league in rushing after 1 week as well. So that's obviously something to look at for him as well. Just going back to that, what did you like from that performance? What do you want to see built on?
Well, I mean, 7 to 20, that's not a good stat, right? You know, so his boys got to help him out. The receivers got to help him out. A lot of drop balls. If I recall correctly, 4 or 5 on that last drive. We can't have that. Period. And I don't care what football you playing. I don't care if it's Pop Warner to the highest level of professional. No drop balls. The ball touch your hand. That's what you do for a living. That's what you get paid to do. You need to catch the ball. So that's no excuse there. You know, Torrance, he had some. He was late on some throws too. So you got to call it what it is, right? You know, he was late on some throws. So we have to help him get better, make those decisions a lot quicker. Our receivers have to help him out making those plays. So everything goes hand in hand, you know, and that's where it starts. You know, we have to help Torrance get rid of the ball quicker. We got them to help Torrance or Jack. We have to help them receivers understand when the ball touch your hand. I mean, we don't have to help them. That's what they do. You know, if they can't catch, then that's another conversation.
Then we'll switch over to the defensive side of the ball. Had some really good play from linebacker James Brown. According to my stats here, had 6.5 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and also that blocked extra point. What'd you like seeing out of him from that linebacker spot? And seemingly making play after play.
He's a energy guy. So James is interesting, right? So I want to say his grandparents contacted our front office, and it was probably about 3-4 months when I'm like, whatever.
We're not signing this kid. I ain't got time for that. We don't do, you know, it was weird, right? So 2 days or maybe a day before camp, before the guys reported, I just called him. I said, you know what? You want an opportunity? Here we go. You know, and you know, he had an okay camp, right? He had an okay camp, but he showed just enough to help him get over the hump. And, you know, here we are. You know, he picked up on the reads, and he did what we asked him to do, and he played exceptionally well for the most part. You know, it's a first game. You know, he had some first game jitters. So, you know, local kid, which is great, you know, giving that guy. So he's one of the guys who we signed from a tryout. So let's put that out there. He came to a tryout. After I was like, well, whatever, you know, when Grams and them came to talk to our front office. So, you know, he's a tryout signee, and now here he is starting as a starting linebacker for the Blizzard.
Then finally, our player of the game from the Week 1 game was Dez Stewart, 3 receptions, 38 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's a pretty efficient turnout with all 3 of your receptions being touchdowns. Just touch a little bit about his performance and what you like seeing from him going forward.
Continue to catch the ball. Continue to catch the ball. His performance was great. You know, he made all the good. He blocked, so he's just not. He don't catch the ball. He make the blocks. He's the one guy who's going in. He's making that block on that linebacker. He's selling out for the team. He's leaving it on the field. You know, he has the most experience at the next level, right, out of anyone on our team. He's played with or been on 5 different teams in the NFL, and to see him out there doing what he's doing, leaving it on the line, playing the play for what that play is, because that could be his last play. That's remarkable to see. What we're looking for from him is to continue the leadership that he has, right? You know, continue to do what he's been doing. One thing that we noticed with him, that kid don't drop a lot of balls, right? That young man, he do not drop a lot of balls, and that showed in the game. So.
And well, actually, Dez is out here in the audience, so
he's coming in, huh?
We'll have him come in and answer a couple questions for us.
Well,
I should rephrase some of the compliments I gave him. So let me see. How many balls you dropped? No. Okay. Yeah.
I'm actually upset because I definitely had a few drops in that last drive. So, and that, like you said, that's not like me at all. So, I definitely played well. I had a good game, but definitely can be a lot better as well. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity to show that.
So Coach Roberson touched on it. You've been around the block. You have experienced NFL practice squads early on in your career, played with the Rattlers here in this league. What has that experience meant to you coming into where you are now and finally getting here in Green Bay?
Honestly, it set the stage for it. I mean, just like 4 or 5 months ago, I didn't even know I was going to be playing football this season. But, you know, just self-reflection and realizing who I am as a person and what I could do and offer for a team I realized that is the reason why I'm here and I'm able to do so well is all the experience I have. And obviously I can still play at a high level, so it only made sense for me to continue as long as I could. So.
And then just some early takeaways from here. Obviously, this isn't your first time in Green Bay, played with the green and gold, but early takeaways from here in Green Bay and being with the Blizzard.
I'm loving being back. Honestly, so I spent about 8 to 9 weeks on the Green Bay Packers practice squad, and I don't have many memories from it. And, just from the 3 weeks of me being here, it's completely 180. Like, I'm doing appearances. I've met a lot of people. I'm networking. Great relationship with my coaches. So teammates are friendly and welcoming. So I'm having fun already, and we're just 3-4 weeks in. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year for sure.
And one of my favorite questions always to ask is, so early on in the season, you've only been here for 3 weeks, you said, what's your favorite thing to do in Green Bay?
Honestly, I'm a pretty friendly person, and I'm noticing that Green Bay, I guess residents are as well. I speak to pretty much everybody I can, and I say good morning to random people I don't know, and they all speak back. So honestly, just being out is just fun. Just getting the opportunity to go out and meet new people and see new people. It's nice here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dez, and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Appreciate you, Joey. Thank you. Yes, sir. Go Blizz.
All right, so we will finish off here just talking about Bismarck. That's going to be your next opponent. You've got a bye this week. You are not their next opponent. They play against Sioux Falls, I believe, this week. Then you take the trip out to Bismarck next week. What can you take away from being able to see them again before you play against them?
I think, talk about the offense. We prepared for one defense. They kind of switched it up a little bit, which was good by them. Not that we didn't make the adjustments or anything because we were prepared. I think at the end of the day, we have to execute. It wasn't anything that Bismarck did to us. Kudos to them. They won the game. I'm going to give props where props is due. They won the game, right? But we know we beat ourselves. At the end of the day, we beat ourselves. We left a lot on the field. We didn't capitalize. We had the 3 turnovers, 4 fumbles with 3 of them that we lost. We had the opportunity for 2 interceptions that they scored on.
Yeah.
It went right through our hands. Kudos to Bismarck. They made the plays when the plays needed to be made. They helped them get on, had a lead. Defensive-wise, execute better. We had some blown coverages. We had a couple of blown coverages. We need to tackle better. So those are the takeaways that we have, and we'll practice on those things, and we'll get better at it and be better prepared for game number 2.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I highlighted here. All 3 of those passing touchdowns either came on the deep ball there, 1 play, 1 touchdown, then the other 2 were the almost picks that turned into touchdowns. So obviously if one of those doesn't happen, it's a completely different football game, but definitely something to look forward to, and being able to get them right away again, I'm sure, is something that your squad's looking forward to.
Absolutely.
And then finally, I'm going to try and do a human interest question every week going forward. March Madness is coming up. Have you filled out a bracket? And if so, who do you have winning the championship in New Orleans?
Today was the first time that I actually even gave that any thought because it's games tonight. I have not filled out a bracket. Honestly, I don't even know if I will. We got a lot of work to do here. Honestly, I got a lot of work to do here. So if I'm able to get around to it one night before Thursday, I guess I got almost 30 hours to get it done. So we'll see. The clock is not in my favor. So if I could get to it, I'll try to do something. I don't even know. I don't even know who's good. I'm a Michigan guy, so I'm going to pick all the Michigan teams. I don't even know if they're in there or not.
Yeah, Michigan State are in there. So
they are? So I'm picking them.
Me as a Wisconsin fan, I don't like either of them, but they're both in there.
All right. So that's how much attention I paid to it. I haven't, I'm so focused on what we got to do with the Blizzard.
Well, that's just about going to wrap it up from here at TNT. We want to thank our our friends at TNT and Big Bark for being able to host us here and get this show on the air. Episode 1 is in the books, so we want to. I gotta thank OG as well. So he's giving me a look from here in the crowd. So shout out to OG here.
Do we have questions? Questions from the fans? No.
No. So
No side backs. I mean,
so that'll just about wrap it up here for episode number 1. We will see you in the next episode. Go Bulls.